everyone, hope you're all doing super well and welcome to this little oil painting session of this little cat. And here is an example of me desperately trying to get some inspiration before I start painting. Here we have some random wandering around in a circle because this does seem to help me in some sort of way, some obscure way, although I have to say it does take some circle walking to achieve any type of inspiration. So this is sped up because it was pretty boring, as you can tell. And here is a demonstration of my thinking, which is clearly there's no thinking going on. And I found a fruit tree, a plum tree, but there are worms inside, beware. And so here we are starting painting on this little cat. If you are interested in any of the stories behind my painting, please follow me on Instagram because I have listed all the stories in full detail there. And in this video, I decided to talk about a very unusual topic, and that is painting with gloves. Now, I know this sounds super weird, and probably if you're not an artist, you'll find this very odd, but it's quite funny because, in fact, painting with gloves, I feel, on YouTube is pretty controversial. I used to watch videos of oil painting and just painting in general before I started my channel. And I used to see videos where people would paint with gloves and they would get some really rude comments on their videos like, why are you painting your gloves? Most often than not, they would get the take your gloves off and similar type of comments, which is very strange to me because whenever I see a video and someone is painting with gloves, I barely notice, but I think that it does offend some people for some reason. Now, as you can see in this video, I have started to paint with gloves. I've wanted to paint with gloves for a very long time, but ever since our lockdown started, gloves appear to be sold out in pretty much every shop on the planet. And it's quite funny because before that, I used to think, oh, I've got to get gloves, I'll put it off, and then I wouldn't get around to it. So I'm actually using a pair of gloves from the supermarket that are like those disposable ones. They're not the proper latex ones that a lot of artists use. They get them in like really nice colours. And so this isn't really quite the right type of glove. And it was a very interesting experience painting with gloves because I felt like I couldn't quite get the same feel of painting with bare hands. If I was to choose between the two, I prefer painting with my hands. But of course, there is the amazing advantage of not getting paint all over your fingers when you're painting, because with oils, I paint with Gamblin paint, so they're non-toxic. So even if they get on the skin, it's no problem. You just wash your hands. But they tend to stain your fingers a little bit. And sometimes you have to really, really wash your hands afterwards. So the only disadvantage to it really is just getting really dry hands because you're washing your hands so much. And so that can be a little bit problematic if you're painting so often as I do. And so I thought that that would save that situation of having dry hands all the time, although it did end up constantly taking my hands on and off. And also, I know this sounds a bit gross, but because it's so hot at the moment, I did feel like my hand was getting like super sweaty and wet and stuff. And it was a bit of a weird, it really felt like I was just about to do some washing up or something. And it's quite funny because I've seen videos where some people have been painting using like washing up gloves, like marigolds. And so I just think that probably doing that would be the worst type of thing because they're so bulky. And I felt like these gloves were quite good in a sense that they were so thin and flimsy that I could sort of feel the brush in a way that was almost like having my bare hands. So I'd be interested to know whether you guys think that painting with gloves is good or not, because I know a lot of artists do it, but there is significantly less doing it on YouTube than people wearing gloves. So there we are. I do hope you like this painting of this little cat in the forest. I tried to transfer some of the flowers and things that I saw in my garden into the painting. So I do hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next week. Take care, guys.